Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's live presentation on vehicle telematics, what we've learned. We do have a lot of information to pack into this presentation. We're going to do our best to keep it to around 30 minutes. As you can see, I want to draw your attention to the bottom of this slide just to give you a quick overview of the solutions that are offered here at Drivers Alert, starting with training, which is the newest e-learning in the industry. And Smartwatch, which is our 1-800 How's My Driving program. It's the most robust program in the industry. And then moving over to telematics, we use Geotab, the industry leader with the most tested technology on the market today. And then MVRs, where you can run new hire vetting checks as well as routine reviews of your current drivers. And then Smart Coaching, although it's not a standalone product per se, it is representative of one of our most unique solutions, which really helps you to coach the driver and to provide more substantive meaning behind that safety message so that it changes behavior. Just quickly introduce myself. I'm Rich Sordahl, responsible for marketing here at Drivers Alert. And a little bit about us. We have more than 1,500 clients, 350,000 plus vehicles currently under contract. And that translates into literally millions of documented unsafe driving events shared with our clients since our inception in 1989. We're also a trusted partner for 100 plus companies in the insurance industry. But the one theme over these 28 years of our existence is definitely innovation. And we were responsible for many firsts. And within the 1-800 How's My Driving product, we were the first to offer high visibility reflective decals for night viewing, the first to assign unique vehicle IDs, the first to record a motorist call and send that to a client so that the managers can actually hear the concerned motorists themselves, and also the first to integrate incident-specific online training. We were the first company to offer closed-loop corrective action process that is married with our How's My Driving and MVR programs, and really taking that e-learning and providing incident-specific training that helps improve behavior to send those drivers out back onto the road safer. So we really look at ourselves as a pioneer in e-learning for fleets. We're also the first to offer safety-based telematics application, and you'll hear a little bit about this today, that we do know that traditionally telematics is used for operational focus, but when it comes to safety, we do believe the driver is the biggest variable, and looking at those behaviors and helping to correct them so that they are more safe will help you identify those precursors to accidents and save money. And also, you'll hear a little bit today, we have the newest and freshest content in the e-learning industry. So really, why are we here? Well, first, telematics can be a highly involved solution. There's lots of data, there are settings and admin set up, you have hardware installation, and just the overall management of the solution. So you're going to hear how to navigate through that today and set yourself up for the greatest success. And then we'll talk about a few myths surrounding the technology and debunking those, and then helping you with just giving you a little bit of guidance, because we do believe when it comes to telematics, just a little bit of guidance will produce some significant benefits down the road. And finally, no one, we believe, knows telematics better than Drivers Alert. We have really many clients that are veterans of telematics themselves and have gone through first and generation, second generation telematics solutions, and tell us that we really do go the great lengths with our customer service to make sure that clients get the most out of their solutions. And so we're going to share all of these findings with you today. So to summarize what we're going to talk about today, Paul Murray will go into the two ways that you can really, generally speaking, apply telematics and just some of the approaches and mindsets involved in that. And then talk about the importance of proper device installation and then managing your settings and some of the ins and outs of vehicle tracking, as well as the posted versus actual speed function. And then describe some of the benefits of in-cab feedback, and talk about fuel efficiency and what you can expect with using a telematics program. And then, of course, the big one, data. How do you really manage the overwhelming volume of information and sort through that and focus on things that will help you improve your accident rates in your fleet? And then we'll cap it off with a discussion about proactive training and really closing that loop to submit or really seal that message of safety, so that drivers are heading back out into the road with a different mindset. And then we'll open it up to questions and go ahead and then reveal the winner of the Starbucks gift card. So with that said, Paul Murray has been with Drivers Alert now for several years. He serves as our resident spokesperson on all things related to fleet safety management. Having personally worked with hundreds of clients, he understands firsthand what it takes to create fleet safety programs that wreck fewer vehicles and hurt fewer people. Paul often visits clients and speaks at industry conferences and company events, and his high level of engagement with the market and industry has directly led to many product innovations and enhancements while at Driver's Alert. So at this time, I will turn it over to Paul Murray. Paul?
Hey, Rich, I appreciate it. And I just want to ensure that, Rich, you can see my screen, then hopefully everybody else can as well. Perfect. So, as Rich kind of mentioned, there are big two areas that most fleets see or apply telematics. One is operations, one is safety. Now, together, both of these functions can maximize cost savings. Operations obviously want to ensure the vehicles are moving, they're on the road longer, that they're getting the best miles per gallon, that they're not putting excess use or mileage on a vehicle. Whereas safety wants to slow folks down, which is a MPG booster. They want to ensure that the vehicle is being driven properly. So again, if you're not slamming on the brakes, if you're driving the vehicle properly, that's going to have an operational effect as well on reduced total cost of mileage. And again, brand image. Both can work from brand image. Again, keeping Paul's Plumbing as it's going down the road looking absolutely as best as possible to every customer. Again, your vehicles are a rolling billboard for your organization. So we want to shed the best possible light as your drivers are moving around. Now, some of the operational concerns today are things like miles per gallon. We obviously want to boost MPG because fuel is not cheap. There's route optimization I referenced a minute ago about reducing excess miles, maybe squeezing in an extra trip, or having somebody that may overlap somebody else's delivery route or customer location or segmentation. If you can optimize a route, you can easily save fuel dollars, wear and tear on vehicle, mileage, and even reduce payroll. Again, telematics for operations is really also about boosting productivity, ensuring that if you know somebody spends 20 minutes at a customer site and they start to spend 30, 40, 50 minutes at a customer site, again, you can see that productivity as well. And then lastly, telematics being plugged into the diagnostic port of the vehicle really does truly boost maintenance. You can know about how many miles are on a vehicle. You can be given instant alerts if a driver has an issue with a vehicle. They may see a check engine light on and disregard it or not know what's the matter with the vehicle. You can get an email, forward to maintenance, or direct those emails directly to a maintenance person. Get the email, tells them exactly what's the matter with the vehicle. They get it off the road, service it, get it back on the road. Also, preventative maintenance. Every 5,000 miles you do an oil change, etc. Things like that are all operational concerns. Now, conversely, some of the safety concerns, obviously safety folks want to prevent crashes. They don't want to wreck trucks. They don't want to hurt people. They don't want to have injuries and absolutely don't want to have fatalities. So preventing crashes is pretty easy if you can slow drivers down. You can reduce hard braking and cornering. And you can remove the aggressive acceleration from drivers as well. Now, the next slide kind of pulls it all together, revealing that the big dollar savings in safety is from accident reductions. Now, obviously, we know there's money to be saved in operations, but the true real savings is in accident reductions. We all know fuel's expensive. I think the national average for 87 this week is $2.30. That's not cheap by anyone's meter. But fuel is very inexpensive when you talk about an at-fault, on-the-job fatality, which costs an employer on average, now this is an average, so there's peaks and valleys, but about $500,000. That's according to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. Accidents are not the only big day-to-day mindset. Sometimes they get neglected, but they lead to big money tomorrow. A couple additional safety concerns: bent metal, about $16,000 per incident. A non-fatal injury, which sends an individual to either urgent care or hospital, is about $80,000. You have things like asset downtime, lost time and productivity, higher premiums. In some cases, we've seen customers and other fleets be simply dropped. Lawsuits, average $1 million plus verdict for negligent care, and then we've seen other companies have 6, 10, $20 million verdicts for different things behind the wheel, distracted driving, negligence, over their hours of service, etc. Now, one thing we always talk about is our proper device installation. It is a very technologically advanced piece of hardware. There's an accelerometer, there's a GPS chipset, there's a cellular modem, there's a lot going on in this device. So to get accurate and good quality data, the device has to be installed securely. That's how we get started. And why do we need the device to be secure with using zip ties? It's truly to prevent false positives. A false positive can be such as a driver going down the road, device wiggles loose, you get a notification that the driver has been involved in an accident. You start your process, you call that driver, you want to do X, Y, and Z. In reality, the device just came loose. Maybe it wasn't installed correctly. We talk about location of device as well. And location of device ties directly into Y cables. What a Y cable is, it's a way to install a telematics device so that, for instance, right here, this gets plugged into the vehicle's diagnostic port. Our GPS or black box gets plugged in here, hidden under the dashboard, installed securely. And then lastly, this white piece right here actually goes in place of the factory diagnostic port. Now this is an example of a light duty, but we also have them for heavy duty vehicles. And it allows you to never need to remove a device when that truck goes into into the maintenance shop. So one thing we always caution fleets about, and this is again going back to having accurate data, we want to help you manage your settings. We've done this for many years. We consult with each one of our customers as they become a GPS client, because truly improper setup will have poor data quality, too many emails going out, and then a whole mantra of, well, you know what, we're getting so much information, either we're going to turn the emails off, or if a driver's speeding, if a driver's doing something, we don't necessarily follow through all the way. So we really work with each customer to ensure that we've set up the data, the settings, the reporting as accurately as possible. Set notification thresholds. Don't make them too tight or unrealistic. We've got fleets that say, hey, we want to look at if a driver goes 4 miles per hour over the speed limit. We absolutely advise against that. Drivers have to manage their speed as they're driving around every day, so we want to ensure we're setting attainable goals. And truly focus on the criteria that's important to each fleet. Again, every fleet has a different want. Again, everyone says, I want to slow my driver down, I want to idle less, but why? What are the root causes of that? So we focus on criteria that's important to you, maybe 2 to 3 points max. Now we talk about vehicle tracking. Overall, it is very accurate. It's real time, but the vehicle does have to be running, does have to be turned on. Again, when you turn the vehicle off, you'll see the last known location on the map. But as GPS is GPS, it is more accurate when you move. You've got things like geofencing, know where vehicles are going, notifications if they're going somewhere they shouldn't, if they're spending too long at a customer, if they're at the office, even if they go home during work hours. Now we want to educate clients on the difference of vehicle tracking versus asset tracking. Again, vehicle tracking is your traditional, I would like to track a power unit, whether it's a light duty truck or an 18-wheeler. You want to know where that driver is going all the time. Now asset tracking is knowing where something like a trailer is, a bobcat, a piece of construction equipment. They're vastly different, and the battery life on an asset tracker isn't always as advertised. We've done our homework on it. There are solutions to asset tracking, but they need to be powered. So on a Bobcat, be tied into the battery. On a trailer, be tied into the trailer lights so that when that trailer is moved around, we can track it. And then lastly, cell coverage. As much as T-Mobile, AT&T, all the big cellular carriers would like to advertise, there's not cellular coverage over all 100% of the country. If the device goes into a location where there's no cellular coverage, it will record all the data, and then it will backdate it to the cloud and make it available to our customer. Now, we talk a lot about posted versus actual speeds. About 5 years ago, this was added to our solution. We do absolutely caution every client, not all speed limit data is accurate. Most telematics providers won't even discuss the accuracy of their posted speed limit data. We are a Geotab reseller. Geotab uses multiple different sources of that data aggregated together to be the highest by far in the industry at about 85%, if not a little better. Now, some telematics units, and we talk about the location, where the vehicle is, how accurate they are. A vehicle may be on a highway traveling 55 miles per hour, but a register that's on a service road with a speed limit of 45. GPS is very accurate, but we're not talking military precision here. We're not dropping a laser-guided weapon. There is a small amount, a margin of error, so just, again, be cognizant of that. Don't ever make it punitive. Due to the inherent reliability issues surrounding posted speed data, don't meet violations with an immediate disciplinary action. Instead, truly use them as a coaching event. Now, threshold speed, which is something as in, I'd like to know if a driver goes greater than 70 miles per hour, is by far the most reliable metric you'll get around speed. We strongly recommend everyone focuses on at least one threshold speed, something like if a driver goes greater than 75 miles per hour, I'd like to know about it. Now we've got in-cab feedback. Our device, through an audible tone, will alert a driver before an event goes out to management. Now these beeps can be customizable down to the vehicle level. They warn a driver there's a safety violation, there's an idle violation, or they're just doing something they shouldn't be doing. It truly offers a self-correction opportunity, or a grace period, if you will, to allow a driver to correct their behavior before there's a ding on their driver scorecard, an email goes out, etc. Now, if a driver doesn't follow the in-vehicle feedback, they continue to violate that rule, an emailed report can go out to managers. This prompts a supervisor intervention with a driver, have a discussion, and then you could even go as far as assigning an online training course. Now, the last point, follow-up truly is vital once a driver has heard that in-vehicle feedback and they disregarded it, and then managers get an email, because when a driver doesn't get a follow-up on an event, the driver begins to ignore them and just says, it's beeping at me again. If I continue to speed, nobody will do anything about it. That won't change behavior. That won't correct itself. Fuel efficiency. So everybody in operations, even in safety, wants to slow drivers down, get better miles per gallon. Now, a lot of providers out there, their touted fuel savings are often greater than what's realized in practice. Again, this goes back to the last slide about following up is vital. You must actively manage to realize solid reductions. Just plugging a telematics device in won't be your end-all savior. It's like the euphemism, you buy a gym membership, you go once or twice, 6 months down the road, you haven't lost any weight, you haven't gotten stronger, you haven't seen a change. Well, just buying a gym membership isn't going to help. You have to maintain, you have to go. Again, with telematics, you've got to manage the information, sit down with drivers, have those coaching sessions. And lastly, you truly need to monitor idle time, and you need to be vigilant when you do it. Now everyone's heard of the term big data. What do you need to focus on? Truly look at the macro portion of your fleet. Identify the big trends. When you focus on a minor area, you're not only tracking more important issues, but you can truly feel overwhelmed, which may lead to frustration, a passive approach on managing the program. And I can tell you one thing, drivers pick up on it almost instantly and they go back to their old habits. Again, identify trends. So don't just treat the employee, treat the trend. Maybe you notice all your drivers are speeding Friday afternoon. Well, it's probably because they want to get home, get out of their company vehicle, or get to their next destination after work. Be vigilant with establishing your parameters. Focus just on 2 to 3 key dimensions. Learn to weed out what isn't important to you. Truly be accurate. Again, accuracy is critical. When data is accurate, you have confidence in the actions you're taking. You can be credible with your managers, peers, and even your frontline employees. And then lastly, be consistent. A lot of fleets will get a driver, oh, Paul Murray is a good salesperson or he's a good tech. We never have an issue with him. He's a little bit of a speeder and we're going to let this slide. You need to be consistent across the board. You need to have good benchmarks and it truly does help you spot trouble areas and avoid a costly accident. Now you've got all of this data. You've got all this location information. You've got these violations. What do you do next? Is there anything after telematics? How do we, besides sitting down with the driver and saying, hey, slow down, don't speed anymore, wear your seatbelt, don't idle, etc. What do you do? How do you reinforce everything you've said in that quick 2 to 3 to 4 minute managerial to driver conversation? It's all about training. So you truly deployed a telematics solution across the board. You're gathering a ton of good, rich data. What do you do with the information, though? How do you decipher it? Telematics truly is wonderful. I've got one in my own car, and I get the email notifications when I do something wrong, and it truly does sink in over time. But again, only documenting an unsafe driving event, that's the first part of the equation. The second part's training. Because again, you truly can't terminate everybody. We strongly actually disagree and strongly discourage using telematics primarily as a metric for dismissing an employee. Drivers truly do need a formalized learning program. They want to develop internally. If you ask an employee, they'll say, I'd like to learn more. I'd like to be a safer employee. This is truly where a strong proactive training program comes in. Now lastly, with increased focus on driver safety, you're going to lead to big increases in money saved. Like there's obviously going to be fewer at-fault accidents. Reductions in claims, bent metal repair costs. Most fleets even realize over time a reduced insurance rate, reduced insurance premium. And I know it's not cheap for a fleet to be insured. And then lastly, decrease in lost productivity. Your vehicles will be online more. They're going to be running longer. You're going to have employee lost time reduced significantly. Now, the newest e-learning on the block. I could say it all day. It's brand new. I'm going to guess most employees for companies that are attending this webinar have taken some kind of training, and they may even have a cheat sheet. It's truly time to challenge employees again. It doesn't waste your time. Every training course that we've developed in the past, and when I say in the past, I mean the last 6 to 18 months, is no longer than about 15 to 20 minutes. That's how long an employee has if they're either taking a course on a tablet, a computer, that doesn't waste their time. It asserts the cognitive load theory, where a learner can only truly process a limited amount of information working from their memory. The old way of learning was a course 30 plus minutes or longer. Today, again, 15 to 20 minutes, eliminating non-pertinent content. Hello, HTML5, goodbye Flash. Flash has been around for 16, 17 years now. It's an older technology. It is not supported on any mobile device. Most websites don't use it anymore, and even Chrome has quite a hard time processing a lot of Flash. Well, each one of our training courses is developed in HTML5. It works on most modern secure browsers, and it even works as far down to a tablet. Our team here at Drivers Alert has over 100 years of combined experience in sound instructional design. And then lastly, database-driven content. What does it mean? It means that if we make an update to a training course and we change out a picture, we add a question, we do anything to our training, you, the end user, does not have to do a single thing. It's pushed automatically. It eliminates version control issues since every change is housed and made in the cloud. A change takes place in real time and instantly updates for everybody that's taken the training. Now here is just an example of some of our driver training courses. Again, we kind of hit all the topics in regards to driving, but again, just a subset of some of our training. Now I mentioned training course changes. This is a big trend we're seeing. More companies are requesting a customized e-learning course. It's truly not just for a giant corporation anymore. It's now affordable for companies of all sizes. You can truly put an end to old, outdated training courses. And what would you like to include in your own training course? You can put in your people, your processes, your equipment, your message. You can truly make the training course yours. You can grab a course off the shelf of ours, you can customize it, or you can even build your own course from scratch. Lastly, we have our own in-house studio here at Drivers Alert, so we can produce custom content videos for your company. Now, as we start to wind down, we'll talk about how to employ learning in today's fleet. It's truly more about prevention. We don't ever say the word punitive. You can do and employ it in a new hire orientation, refresher trainings every quarter, every month, or even on demand. You can do it in a coaching, counseling, and corrective action setting as well. And then lastly, a lot of fleets today have these quick 15-minute toolbox talks. You can employ the training course into one of your toolbox talks, have a couple individuals take the training course right then and there, score it, get back on with their day. Now lastly, a quick review. We talked about how we can get some good savings from operations, but how we can get even bigger savings from the safety side of the house. We truly want to avoid false positives, ensure that devices are plugged in correctly, installed correctly, and secure. We talked about some settings and how to make some program success, understanding vehicle tracking, how it works, and some of the common misconceptions. We also talked about actual versus posted speed, how not everything is 100% accurate. In-cab feedback, designed to change driver behavior before notifications go out to managers. Fuel efficiency unplugged, how a lot of providers out there will say, hey, you're going to get a 10% reduction in idle, 30% reduction in idle, and sometimes that's not as realized. We've streamlined a simple approach to data, and then finally closing the loop with e-learning. Now I know we've got about 2 minutes left, so what I'd like to do is just turn it back over to Rich. He's going to finish up the presentation and I believe announce the winner of the Starbucks gift card. Rich?
Okay, thanks, Paul. And to make sure I get my screen.
You got it.
There we go. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions. We got time for 2 or 3. So if you do have a question for Paul, please use the question box, and we'll go ahead and answer those as they come in. I'll give you just a few seconds to do so. And we do have one question here. So Paul, this individual is asking, do you have an hours of service option?
We do, yes. We've got a hours of service option that is very easy to roll out. It requires just a telematics unit and a smart device, whether it's a phone or tablet, Android or iOS, and it meets all of the government guidelines today. And it's a very easy solution to roll out. It's just a simple app download on a smart device, and you're up and running.
Okay, this question is related to training. So you did touch on a little bit on the last couple of slides there. This question is related, though, to OSHA training. So they're asking, do we have any OSHA specific training available?
We actually do. We've got a lot of warehouse safety training, a lot of OSHA prep courses as well, and we're working on a OSHA 10 and 30, and we will be coming out with some more information in the next coming weeks, but we will be offering OSHA 10 and 30, general industry and construction and some, so that's a huge topic, and I know a lot of our customers need that, and they're looking, they're bouncing around saying, where can I get it from? So we definitely have that.
We got one question here regarding, I know you touched on geofencing. Are there any major takeaways on that particular tool for the GeoTab telematics solution? It was kind of a general question he's asking. Any tips?
Sure. So geofencing, or what is it? It's just a virtual perimeter around any location, and it's designed to alert managers and boost productivity. Is a driver spending too much time at a customer? Is a driver going somewhere they shouldn't? Do we have drivers, someone like myself that's in an office setting, am I getting to the office late every day? Am I leaving early? Am I spending too much time outside of the office? So geofencing is basically a productivity tool to ensure fleet drivers are doing what they should be doing throughout the course of a business day.
Okay, Paul, we'll take one more question. This is a quick one. It was related to seatbelt usage. And I think you might have touched on it briefly, but does the device, is it able to pick up on seatbelt usage, and what would that look like?
Great question. In most modern vehicles, not all, and it's light duty, so your F-150s, your private passenger cars, up to about an F3 or 450, the Chevy, GM, Dodge equivalent. The device being plugged into the diagnostic port can capture seatbelt usage. Now, it's not available on every light-duty vehicle, but if it's a metric that we can capture, we make it available to the customer with no wiring, no soldering, no hard install.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I do appreciate everyone's questions. There are still several we did not get to, and we will follow up with you after the presentation. So at this time, if you still have any questions related to today's topic and or questions related about any of Drivers Alert's fleet safety solutions, including e-learning that Paul mentioned in this presentation, please feel free to contact us at the number you see on your screen, or send us an email at sales@driversalert.com. And to let you know that we will be sending a email out with a follow-up, really to a link to a survey that will give you a chance to provide some feedback on today's presentation, as well as a link to a recording of the presentation and an introduction to our customer referral program.